Okay, I'm going to do my 20 pin holder now for my chip. Push that in there and solder up all your terminals. So we want to get that in there, make sure it's up against. And we'll solder up all our terminals. Okay, when that's soldered in, that's what it should look like. You want to make sure that little indent is facing out because that put you in the dot for your chip. So now we want to do our 6 holder. So this is for our client, for our opto. So make sure the notch in here faces the notch on the board. That up there. Solder it in. There's 6 pins. Okay, we're soldered in. And we're soldered in. Okay, I'm going to install the C106NG or tie resistor, and I'm going to put it on the opposite side of the board where the connector is. So I want this metal to face the flash holes for the slave holes. So I want the metal to face this part of the board. As you can see, I want the metal to face that part of the board and be black to that. So I'm going to push that in, put that in, we're going to solder it in, and we're going to solder that in. So that's soldered in. I'll clip my legs. As you see, now it would be the opposite if I was soldering on the other side, but I'm trying to keep most of my components. But I still got to put a spacer on the board, which I use it for. You could actually put your resistors, you can actually put these resistors on the other side of the board and the diode. But I'm still going to put a spacer in as I'll lay my board down flat. It won't hurt. Okay, we're going to step over to Q4, which is the MOSFET RFD14N05L, and we're going to, the black part will go towards the 4-pin connector for the slave. So we'll push this through, and it's tight. When I get that in, I'll solder it in. Okay, I have it in. As you can see, it's that way. Metal will face the capacitor. And I just got to solder that in. And cut the legs off. And again, that's what it's going to look like. Okay, I'm going to jump to the LED. And the LED is a short leg. And that's D5. Now I'm going to put this on the other side of the board, but I want to put it the short leg to the square hole. The top hole's round, the bottom here is square. So only short leg, square hole. I'm going to solder that in. Solder that in. Oh, come on, who's doing me? So I have it soldered in, and I'll be able to see that when I turn the board on. Okay, I'm going to put the switch on now. This is a 6mm push button latching switch. I'll put that on. Just like that, and I'm going to solder the 6 pins. Solder 6 pins. Okay, I have the switch soldered on. And now I'm going to do the for the programming cable. Okay, I'm going to put my connector on for my programming cable. And I'm just going to solder it to there. And make sure it's straight, and it is. I'm using a pretty cheap connector there because I'll probably never reprogram it again once it's programmed. So there's my connector from a programming cable. Okay. Now I'm going to put in my connector for my power to my board. So the top two are power. The third one down is common, and the fourth one down is switch 2, in case you decide you want to use an external switch. So I put that on there, and I can solder that connector down. And now I can solder the rest of them down. There's 4 of them. I just put my iron up against the pins, heat them up, and hit them with a little bit of solder, and they'll go right in for you. Now we want to do the other connector right above there, which is for our slave. I'm going to have to finagle things a little bit. Get her to move. It's pretty tight with that side resistor. Tight fit, but it gets in there. So we're soldering her down. So that's for my slave flash. That's soldered down. Always make sure you don't see any circles around what you're soldering to. Okay, I'm going to put my pickaxe chip in. I still have couple more things to do yet, but that little notch here fits the little dot. Okay, it chips in. Now it's the same for the opto, which is MOC3023. There's a little dot here at the bottom, and we'll put that to the notch in the connector to the board. You gotta bend those pins a little bit to fit. Okay. Now I got to do R16 yet. I kind of saved that one for last for a reason, and we'll get to that.